Continuing with the topic of autopsy. Today we'll discuss the protocol of autopsy and other related examinations with the protocol of autopsy. Then the death investigation systems, which are prevalent in our country, we discussed in the previous lecture, but hurriedly we'll go through. Then the laws related with the death investigation and the examination proper starts with the external examination, internal examination, and we'll discuss what are various autopsy incidents and collections which are required for various types of cases. And in the end, the final is the opinion or the conclusion drawn upon the findings of the autopsy. So when we say autopsy protocol, what do you mean by protocol? Anyone?
Sort of the steps and the procedures that you're going to follow for the autopsy
No.
and the rules, sort of
Anyone?
standard.
It is presumed as that it is etiquette of work, steps of examination, but the word protocol doesn't mean this. Protocols mean a written, signed document. You are sitting here under a protocol. I am delivering a lecture under a protocol. That means our job, our conduct is under a written, signed document. When we say protocol of autopsy, it means a written, signed document containing all the observations and findings of autopsy. And this document is to be presented in the court of law as an evidence. So protocol is a written signed document. Now regarding the principle of autopsy, that autopsy should be uniform and it should be adequate. When we say uniform means it should be uniform, that all the steps should be in all types of cases uniform. That means we have to open all the cavities, 3 cavities, examine each viscera, and all types of cases will include a uniform steps of examination. Adequate means complete. No lapse should be left there. So when we say it uniform, a standard protocol is observed. So throughout the country, a standard protocol is authorized by the authorities and the steps of examination remains the same. And in every part of the world, it is the same. So that's why we say it a uniform. Adequate, that means complete examination. You have to find out the physicochemical effects on the body. The physical effect will produce the trauma, and the chemical effect will also produce the injury in some form. So whenever there will be structural or functional damage, you have to determine that, and that may be because of physical or chemical insult to the body. So complete external and internal examination with collection of material if indicated. For example, if the allegation is that the person was poisoned, so you have to take the specimen of certain viscera to detect the poison. And when the allegation is that person was died of natural disease, then you have to take the specimen of certain viscera for histopathological examination. So the aided examination will be required in cases where it is indicated. Then subsequent examination, if needed, toxicological for detection of poison. biological, any trace evidence that has to be confirmed. Every trace will confirm its identity, and its identity will lead to either the victim or to the assailant. And they can be biological fluids, blood, semen, saliva, or biological material, hair, bone, skin, or anything. Then histopathological examination for detection of disease, bacteriological examination for confirmation of the disease process. So the death investigation is just a repetition. I told you in the previous lecture that throughout the world there are three systems: the medical examiner system, the coroner system, and the continental system. The medical examiner system is prevalent in USA, and there is a medical examiner who is either a doctor or a lawyer, but authorized by the state to conduct himself autopsy if he is a doctor, or himself order for the investigation, or at his own he can conduct investigation. So medical examiner is empowered by the state, and there are area medical examiners. Like we in our country, there are area magistrates, there are area medical examiners. So every suspicious death is reported to the medical examiner, and the further investigation will be upon his orders. The corner system, the corners are in the, this system is in the British, Wales, and some of the states of the Canada, and there is an area coroner, and every death is reported to the coroner, and he is a legal judicial powers. He can order the investigation if there is any suspicion, and he can include the medical part for autopsy, he can include the police for investigation. So like magistrate, he has got the powers by the magistrate, and coroner is from the crown, the British colonial area, and they have empowered their powers to the coroner to impose the investigation. Then the continental, it is in the Europe, and there are executive body who control the legal and the medical part. So the two part, the legal part conducting the investigation, the medical part conducting the autopsy and other relevant investigations, but they are controlled or headed by an executive officer, which may be a legal member or which may be a judicial member. So there is an executive officer controlling the two legal investigation systems and medical investigation. But here in Pakistan, there is no system at all, but we can say that our system is modified continental. Both systems are conducting independently. Police is conducting investigation upon the authority of the Criminal Procedure Code, Section 174 and Section 176. They empower the police wherever there is suspicion death, death by animal, death by accident, death suicidal, homicidal, accident, or any suspicious death. Section 174 empowers the police to visit the scene of crime and conduct the investigation. And then they will refer, if there is any suspicion, they will refer the case under Section 176 to the doctor for conduction of autopsy. So these two sections, Section 174, Section 176 of Criminal Procedure Code, conduct the death investigation system in our country. Then there are also police rules. Police rules 1934, sub rule 35, 36. Main rule is rule 25. So police rule 25, subsection 35, police rule 25, subsection 36, they empower the police officers for the conduction of investigation. And similarly, the health authorities, they issue time to time instructions, guidelines for conduction of autopsy, collection of material, in exhumation, at autopsy, or whatever is indicated, the health department issues instructions. So in our country, criminal procedure code sections, police rules, health instructional framework for death investigation. So death investigation, basically it's a combined work in our country: police investigation, forensic science, and medical examination. Now the crime scene investigation is being introduced in our country, and it was a way back by the Shehbaz Sharif. Basically, there were many labs: autopsy, histopathological, bacteriological lab, firearms expert, writing expert, speech therapy, lie tests. They were all being controlled by different departments and different sections. Some were controlled by police, some were controlled by home department, some by health authorities, and they make under one roof forensic science agency. किसी ने अगर नाम सुना तो ठोकर न्याज बेग के स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट लैब है. ऑल दी डिसिप्लिन्स, 13 डिसिप्लिन्स, डीएनए, histopathology, autopsy, lie test, crime scene investigation, all they are under one roof. And now this forensic science with the crime scene investigation initially started at Lahore. Now in every city there is a unit. Now all the provinces are following the same guideline. So they, whenever they receive the information from the police that there is any suspicious crime or investigation, the crime scene unit, which is a team of technicians, they are experts, and they were trained in USA. It's really a state of art lab. They were trained in USA and Scotland, and they visit the scene of crime and they collect the material, they take the photographs, they build up the crime, how it was conducted. So now it is being prevalent in our country. And then the medical examination, when the body is received for autopsy to the autopsy department, either it is a rural health center, because it is to be reported to the nearest health facility. A nearest health facility, if it's a rural area, is first is the rural health center, then the civil hospital, district hospital, and then at the tertiary level, teaching units of the hospital. There, the forensic department, there are the demonstrators, but every teaching hospital has been empowered by the government. Government has authorized demonstrators to conduct autopsy. ये काम ऐसे नहीं हो सकता. Without authority, no one can conduct. So police, state, they give the authority, then the autopsy is conducted. Demonstrator cannot conduct, but in special situation to the forensic department, they issued a notification that demonstrators of the forensic department can conduct autopsy. So ये सारा हमने डिस्कस कर लिया. So this section 174, this also empowers the district magistrate to order for the exhumation. Not only he can order for the additional investigation, because under section 174, police is conducting the investigation, and whenever there is suspicion, they refer the case to the district magistrate. And district magistrate under his authority of section 176 can order further investigation, or if the body has been buried without autopsy and if there is any suspicion, he can order for exhumation. Kabar kushai, disinterment of the grave. Now the autopsy protocol. It's a written signed document containing all the findings and observations of the autopsy and the conclusion drawn. पुलिस को समझ नहीं आती what we have written in 4 pages. Detailed चोटों की डिटेल होती है, they will not study. They are only concerned with the conclusion. आपने conclusion क्या किया? The injury stated above is caused by firearms and the cause of death is damage to the heart. उनके लिए इतना ही काम काफी है. So they are concerned with the conclusion. So this written signed document is a proof, is an evidence. You have write it down right there and it has to be issued immediately after the autopsy. If there is some delay, you have to note it down. इस वजह से मैं डिले कर रहा हूँ, ऑटोप्सी के साथ मुझे ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन चाहिए और वो मैं इसलिए उसका वेट कर रहा हूँ. सो it is to be issued immediately after completion of autopsy. And then it is presented in the court of law. वहाँ पे फिर जाके आप डिपोज करते हैं. डेपोजिशन इज टू रीड इट आउट. आप फिजिकली अपीयर होके अपना ऑटोप्सी रजिस्टर वहाँ पे पेश होता है, आप उससे रीड आउट करते हैं ईच एंड एवरी सेंटेंस दैट इज रिटन एंड टाइप्ड, क्योंकि उनको एक तो राइटिंग भी समझ नहीं आती, दूसरी वो टेक्निकल टर्म्स होती हैं एंड यू मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड इन कॉमन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज. उनको टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज का नहीं पता था. सो यू डिपोज देयर, आप अपनी एविडेंस देते हैं. सो यू अपीयर इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ to produce this examination after conduction of autopsy. So this document contains biodata, the identification, which is usually the third party, then the findings of examination, external examination, internal examination, and systemic review, and collection and recoveries if you have collected something. And finally the conclusion drawn. Then there are certain documents which are coming to you which are sometimes necessary. कौन सा document you think, what is the most important document which is necessary for the conduction of autopsy? Authority. The most important document is authority. And authority is issued by the police in the name of the doctor or in the name of the department for conduction of autopsy. Without autopsy हम बॉडी को नहीं छेड़ सकते. इनिशियली जब क्राइम होता है, दे पिक अप द बॉडी फ्रॉम द सीन ऑफ क्राइम और वो हमारे पास डिपार्टमेंट पे इनिशियली 3 दिन की प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए रखे जाते हैं. दे फिल इट द फॉर्म, कीप इट इन प्रिजर्व्ड टिल आई कंप्लीट द लीगल इन्वेस्टिगेशन, FIR लॉन्च करना, वो सारे प्रोसीजर जो होते हैं. बट टिल द अथॉरिटी लेटर इज इशूड वी विल नॉट टच द बॉडी and it will only after the issuance of authority letter. So there are certain pre-autopsy formalities जो होती हैं. The most important visit to the scene of crime, अब मैंने सारा explain कर दिया कि visit of the scene of crime पे डॉक्टर जो conducting autopsy होता है वो शामिल नहीं होता, he is not included in that team. Then transportation of the dead body और रजिस्ट्रेशन. जब बॉडी आती है तो मल्टीपल बॉडी, समटाइम मल्टीपल बॉडीज इन अ सेम इंसिडेंट एंड यू हैव टू टैग देम, राइट देयर नेम्स इफ नोन, एस्कॉर्टिंग पुलिस नेम्स. सो यू हैव टू टैग देम, आइडेंटिफिकेशन टैग लगता है और उसके बाद बॉडी फ्रीजर के अंदर जाएगी. किस पुलिस स्टेशन से आई, कौन लेके आया, ऑल दे आर. देन देयर सर्टन लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज विच आर टू बी. So pre-autopsy most important जो सबसे required है, that is visit to the scene of crime, transportation and pre-autopsy storage. अब ये चीज़ हमने डिस्कस कर ली है कि this is the job of the police. Then transportation of the dead body, the laid principle is that you wrap up the body in a plastic sheet so that nothing should be loose and then you transport it. लेकिन unfortunately हम डेड बॉडी की इतनी इज्जत अफजाई नहीं करते। अगर आप कभी कोई इत्तेफाक होगा, जब जाएंगे हम, बिल्कुल जैसे आलूओं की बोरी खींच रहे होते हैं, दे आर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग लाइक दिस, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट सम post-mortem injuries can be inducted. It can disguise. So the principle is that it should be transported carefully to avoid any injury, wrap up in the plastic sheet, so nothing can be left, nothing can be loose, and then you shift it to the department. Then registration upon receiving in the department, जो बड़े department है like teaching hospital, upon reception of the body there is a main register in which the body is entered, name if known, बायोडेटा उसका लिख के किस पुलिस स्टेशन से कौन से कॉन्स्टेबल्स लेके आए थे, एंड व्हाट इज एपरेंट cause of death, firearm, stab, blunt, they will write. So this is the main register, and they will award a number, this number. तो serial number, yearly number का tag, name, constables उसको tag लगा के then they will shift to the freezer. तो इस तरह टैग लगा के बॉडी को शिफ्ट कर दिया जाता है। एंड फिर एक और रजिस्टर होता है जिसमें ऑटोप्सी के बाद ऑटोप्सी नंबर, डेट ऑफ ऑटोप्सी, किस डॉक्टर ने की, व्हाट वाज द प्रोबेबल कॉज which was determined that autopsy, and it is entered in that register. So first is the general register which contain the serial number, the name, date, then there is autopsy register which is the yearly number. तो हर डॉक्टर को एक उसका नेम अवार्ड कर दिया जाता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ माई नेम इज जावेद इकबाल खोकर, आई विल बी अवार्डेड JIK. सो इट विल बी नेम रिमेन माई एब्रीवेशन इन द डिपार्टमेंट। जब भी कोई JIK का केस निकालेंगे, दैट मीन्स इट वॉज कंडक्टेड बाई मी। देन स्लैश ईयरली नंबर 2010 स्लैश उस ईयर का ऑटोप्सी नंबर, मेरी फर्स्ट ऑटोप्सी है। सो JIK/2010/1, it will indicate that this autopsy was conducted by JIK in the year 2010 and this was his first autopsy. So they will award a yearly number, autopsy number, and name and date of the autopsy in that register. So details of the specimen if collected, they are entered. Then pre-autopsy storage. Pre-autopsy चूँकि शॉर्ट टर्म स्टोरेज होती है, जैसे पुलिस रिक्वेस्ट करती है कि 3 दिन के लिए बॉडी हम प्रिजर्व कर रहते हैं, फॉर शॉर्ट टर्म स्टोरेज फ्रिज का टेम्परेचर होता है। जो फ्रिज का टेम्परेचर क्या होता है, नीचे वाली फ्रिज का जो 4 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, so around 4, this is for the short term refrigeration. And if it is needed long term, तो freezer का temperature क्या होता है, -20. So if long term storage चाहिए तो that is at -20, but because autopsy में हमने बॉडी को इंसिजन देने हैं, कट करने हैं, स्पेसिमेन कलेक्ट करनी है, if it is at -20 body will be solidified, वो तो सॉलिड बन जाएगी, फ्रीज हो जाएगी। सो कटिंग विल नॉट बी पॉसिबल, cellular detail will be lost if histopathology is required. So for short term storage, pre-autopsy temperature is 4 degrees centigrade. So these are various freezers, and this is the huge department, cold storage. Then the legal formalities, police will launch the FIR, which is the first information report. So this document is also required by us. Then the authority letter, they will issue the authority letter to the doctor. So this is the authority letter from the, in Lahore में ये principal है SP of the concerned area. So Superintendent of Police टू द फोरेंसिक डिपार्टमेंट किंग एडवर्ड मेडिकल कॉलेज, इसमें सारी डिटेल होती है। तो आफ्टर रिसीविंग इन द डिपार्टमेंट इट इज़ रिसीविंग का टाइम लगाया जाता है। कोर्ट में यूजुअली क्वेश्चन होता है डॉक्टर साहब बॉडी आपके पास 3 दिन पहले आई थी, आपने 3 दिन के बाद पोस्टमार्टम क्यों किया? तो उसका क्या आंसर होगा? अथॉरिटी लेटर इशू नहीं हुआ था। तो अथॉरिटी लेटर जब इशू होगा तो उसके ऊपर डेट एंड टाइम डाली जाएगी कि इस वक्त ये डॉक्यूमेंट रिसीव हुआ। फॉर एग्जांपल बॉडी वर रिसीव 2 days अर्लियर, तो उसका डेट एंड टाइम रिसीविंग होगा एंड रिसीविंग ऑफ अथॉरिटी लेटर का टाइम होगा। सो वी कैन रिप्लाई टू द कोर्ट, सर अथॉरिटी लेटर वर रिसीव्ड ऑन दिस डेट एंड टाइम, सो दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज कंडक्टेड आफ्टर द लैप्स ऑफ 2 or 3 days. Then other formalities, जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है रिक्वायर्ड प्री ऑटोप्सी एंड पोस्ट ऑटोप्सी। प्री ऑटोप्सी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इज द अथॉरिटी लेटर and authority the state it is issued by the police. So there are certain necessary document and conditional document. Necessary document, authority letter, most important. Then dead body challan, which is a paper, and this challan merg form इसको कहती है पुलिस, they will enter in different types of deaths, form alif, form b, form jeem. Form alif in natural death, form b in unnatural death, or form g in poisoning. So these are dead body challans. Then copy of the FIR, inquest report. They request to the doctor for, in addition to the authority letter, the investigating officer who is conducting the investigation, he knows कि इसमें मुझे ये कुछ चाहिए। वो तो जनरल एक अथॉरिटी लेटर इशू हो गया ना टू नो द कॉज ऑफ डेथ, बट इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफिसर समटाइम्स थिंक्स कि इसमें मुझे ये एडिशनल चीज़ चाहिए, सो ही विल रिक्वेस्ट एट इज होम टू द डॉक्टर फॉर। सो इंजरी स्टेटमेंट बाय द पुलिस ऑफिसर, पुलिस ऑफिसर अपनी भी इंजरी स्टेटमेंट देगी कि हमने ये इंजरी देंगी। देन द डॉक्टर विल गिव द इंजरीज, देयर शुड बी नो डिस्क्रिपेंसी। समटाइम्स हम देखते हैं कि पुलिस ने इंजरीज कम लिखी हुई हैं या रॉन्ग लिखी हुई हैं, तो हम फिर उसको एट ऑटोप्सी बुला के दिखाते हैं कि ये देखो तुमने ये इंजरी मिस कर दी है, इसको लिखो, क्योंकि देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी डिस्क्रिपेंसी। क्यों? कोर्ट में तो वकीलों का काम है, वो हमेशा डिस्क्रिपेंसी राइज करेंगे, डिस्प्यूट राइज करेंगे। पुलिस ने ये इंजरी नहीं लिखी थी, डॉक्टर साहब ने अपने पास से डाल दी है, तो ये तो डॉक्टर साहब ने खुद से किया। सो यू हैव टू टैली बोथ द इंजरीज। So this is generally the copy of the FIR. और FIR, these are all fake. जैसे मैं उस दिन कह रहा था कि होटल में बैठे खाना खा रहे थे, स्टोमक एम्प्टी निकला, तो ये भी ऐसे होती है। मैं रात को 5:30 बजे बहन से मिलने जा रहा था, उसके घर पहुंचा था, मेरा बहन हुई उसको मारा था। अब 5:30 बजे, 4 बजे, 2 बजे रात को मिलने जा रहा था। सो इट्स ऑल सेम फेक स्टोरीज, क्योंकि हमारे सिस्टम में आई विटनेस बनाना होता है। जब तक आई विटनेस नहीं होगा जी केस नहीं चलेगा। सो दैट्स वाई दे इम्प्लांट अ फेक FIR, दे इम्प्लांट आई विटनेस। आई विटनेस फिर उसको डालते हैं जो कि ब्लड रिलेटिव हो, जो कि भाग ना सके। सो दैट्स हाउ इट्स सिस्टम इज। दिस इज द इंजरी स्टेटमेंट। जैसे ये पुलिस ऑफिसर ने लिखा कि पेट पर नाफ के नीचे जख्म खूंच कहाँ, ब्लीडिंग वूंड बिलो दी अम्बलाइकस। एंड दिस इज अ रिक्वेस्ट, जो मैं कह रहा था कि इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर अपनी भी रिक्वेस्ट देता है कि मुझे ये एडिशनल चाहिए। देन कंडीशनल डॉक्यूमेंट, फॉर एग्जांपल द पर्सन इज इंजर्ड, he didn't died at the spot, and then he was taken to the hospital. Then upon the receiving there, the CMO, the casualty medical officer, who is authorized to conduct the medical legal investigation in all medical legal cases, he will receive the case, and if he is in a critical position, he will shift the patient to the theater, and side by side he will note down the injuries. उसकी इंजरी नोट डाउन करेगा, विच इज़ द मेडिकल लीगल सर्टिफिकेट, विच इज़ वेरी नेसेसरी, कि एट द टाइम ऑफ रिसेप्शन व्हाट वर द इंजरी एंड कहाँ कहाँ पे थी। क्योंकि अगर सर्जिकल इंटरवेंशन होगी, स्टिचिंग होगी, डेब्राइडमेंट होगी, लेप्रोटमी होगी, तो इंजरी की नेचर चेंज हो जाएगी। सो इनिशियल मेडिकल लीगल एग्जामिनर की रिपोर्ट, सर्जिकल नोट्स we incorporate, then at autopsy what we see. So these all documents are necessary, which are conditional documents. medical legal certificate, hospital chart, operation notes and डेथ सर्टिफिकेट. समटाइम इंजर हुआ लेकिन वो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के दौरान में डेथ हो गई, तो रिसीव डेड. So receive death certificate is necessary because what was the time of death when it was received, because we have to give the postmortem time period. This is the injury statement by the police. This is the copy of the medical legal certificate. पिक्टोरियल डायग्राम वहाँ पे लेबल की जाती है. एंड ये ट्रीटमेंट नोट वार्ड के, ऑपरेशन नोट्स. So these are the other conditional documents. Sometimes the X-ray is needed if the, and this is the received death certificate if the person was injured and was received dead at the hospital. Then the inquest report, which I'm telling you, the Panchnama or the Merck form. This is three types of cases होते हैं. Form Aleph in natural death, Form B in unnatural death, and Form G in poisoning. So this is the copy of the Form B. You can see B. So this is मर्ग गैर तबी अननेचुरल डेथ. तो इसमें वो सारे उसका बायोडाटा प्लस द कंडीशन, कहाँ पे बॉडी मिली उन्होंने, ये सारी स्टेटमेंट होती है उसमें, और ये बॉडी यहाँ पे मिली उसके सारी लिखा होता है. सो दिस इज द मर्ग फॉर्म. Then place of performing autopsy, it is mentioned where the autopsy will be conducted. Now the steps of examination. बायोडाटा, आइडेंटिफिकेशन, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, ये सब कुछ देख के फिर हम एग्जामिनेशन प्रॉपर शुरू करते हैं. So biodata, complete information, name, age, sex, date and time, who brought it. Then identification is usually at fresh bodies, it is the third part, then the subjective, objective and other systems. But the most important in fresh body, third party, early decomposition, subjective, objective and advance in objective. Now the stages of examination, the external examination, the physical examination of the clothes is important. The clothes are examined for stains, for injury, for identity, tailor mark, cut mark, uniform, night dress, day dress. So they will tell you from where it is belonging. Then the physical examination of the surface, then the internal examination after opening the body and scrutiny of the viscera and specimen collection if required. Then finally the closure and handing over. You will hand it over in the date and time of handing over to the police, it is noted down. So the external examination, the most important is the examination of clothes and external examination of body. Clothes के examination will tell you the identity. आप पहले बॉडी ड्रेस्ड है जब उस कंडीशन में देखेंगे. फ्रंट, बैक, साइड, कंप्लीट एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ क्लोथ्स. कोई टीयर, कोई कट मार्क, कोई होल ऑफ द बुलेट, कोई broken button, broken zipper, they are all noted down. And by tilting the body, the back is examined. Then you will undress, you will remove the clothes, and then you will examine further. And if they are wet, they are dried, and then they are handed over to the police. But they will help you not only in identity, but also relating the crime, the injury, the cut, the stains. So this is the examination: visual, manual, sensual. They are examined for identity, physical examination, physical damage, tailor mark, laundry mark, or any other parameter. They will help us in identity. Help us age, किस एज के हैं, sex, then the occupation, वो कौन सा ड्रेस था, it will help you in identity. Race and socio-economic status. Then physical examination of damage, any cut, any stain are biological or non-biological, they are all examined. Then removing, the precaution is that you may not extend the initial tear, initial cut mark. You will avoid, and if cutting is needed, you will cut along the stitching lines. Stitch line पे आप काट के उसको क्लोथ को रिमूव करें, not try टीयर हो जाए उसका इंजरी का. They are dried in air, they are packed individually, then in a bigger they are packed and handed over to police. So this is the postmortem number of the name of the doctor, and that is the number PMR ARK, Arif Rashid Khan or something like that. PMR XYZ 09 234 22. 22 is the year, 234 the yearly CLE number, and 09 is the 9th case of that doctor. So court will simply send this PMR number. उस डिपार्टमेंट को ये PMR नंबर से पता चल जाएगा किस डॉक्टर था, किस ईयर का था, वो रजिस्टर निकाल के भिजवा देंगे. Then they are packed and handed over to police. Then external examination of the body. Complete examination of the body externally. Front, back, sides, hidden areas, axillas, the mouth, the ears, the orifices, the vagina, the rectum. So all the areas, they are externally examined for injury, for any cut, stain, tears. So all they are noted down. So general physical examination regarding the build, external examination of injury, external examination of therapy. When the person was hospitalized, they intervened, they performed certain surgical procedure, repair, stitching, laparotomy, or any procedure. So you have to write it down under surgical heading so that they may not be confused with the injuries. इंजरीज को आपने सेपरेट हेड के नीचे लिखना है और सर्जिकल इंटरवेंशन को अलग हेड के नीचे लिखना है. So all the surfaces will be examined, especially the hidden areas, the natural orifices, ear, nose, eyes, anus, vagina, they are all examined carefully. Because these are sometimes hidden areas, the axilla, the natal cleft, where something has been introduced to cause the injury. Then general physical examination, उसके build, height, weight, build, age, sex, this is general description. Then any visible change, postmortem staining, rigor mortis, they are in which state, you will write it down. So she generally description general, it's a dead body of an adult male person. Adult भी आ गया, male भी आ गया, well built, having body length 162 centimeters, appears to be of above stated age. जो पुलिस ने एज बताई होगी उसके मुताबिक ये लग रहा है. Then the visible changes, which are the postmortem changing, cooling of the body, postmortem staining, rigor mortis, putrefaction, you will note it down. Then visual scrutiny, all the surfaces are examined, any abnormality, jaundice, cyanosis, surgical mark, surgical repair, they are all noted down. Then injuries, complete examination of each injury, and it will be for site where the injury is located, size, shape, depth, margins, angles, and vital reaction. Vital reaction will be telling it's antemortem or postmortem. So site, size, shape, angle, depth, they all are noted down. You will number it number 1, number 2, number 3, and they are in reference to anatomical landmarks. And 1 into 1 centimeter circular rounded hole on the front of chest, 4 centimeter to the right of midline, 3 centimeter below nipple, or any other reference. So these are anatomical landmarks. You will place in reference to those landmarks, front and back and side. If there are multiple injuries, 1, 2, 3, 4 injuries at the same site, you can group them together. A group of 6 injuries located on the front of abdomen, each measuring this size, 1 into 1, 2 into 3. So you can group them together. So these are different weapons, and just by looking at the injury, you can identify this is a blunt injury, this is a sharp edge injury, this is a gunshot wound, because every weapon has got certain mechanics. When we'll discuss mechanical injury, then it will be clear. Then external evidence of therapy, as I told you, when the person was hospitalized, surgical intervention, stitching, so everything is noted down. If it is a stitched wound, you will write it down. A surgical stitched wound at site जो भी होगी, 6 stitches of black silk of proline, which material, you will note it down. So they are classed under the surgical intervention, therapeutic intervention, surgical incisions, dressings, drain holes, catheters, they are all noted down. Stitches, the number of stitches, the material used, it is noted. If there is tracheostomy, then the needle puncture, they are all noted down. Then for an internal examination, you have to open up the bodies. And objective of internal examination is that you will correlate the external injury being conducted, transmitting to the inside. So you will correlate those injuries, and that is the main objective. Any natural disease, any effect of trauma, and correlation with internal and external, and collection of material. So this is the main objective of internal examination. And to look for the damage, any therapeutic or surgical intervention, splenectomy, or any surgical procedure they have done. So precaution is, when you are opening up the body, you will not cut or tear the initial injuries. You will not in the line of the injuries. They will be separate surgical incisions. Then you will decide which cavity is to open first. For example, if there is asphyxial death, interference at the level of neck, then you need to see the neck dry. So you will drain the head, you will drain the chest, open the head first, then the chest first, and in the end you will dissect out the neck, and you will find a bloodless clear field. So similarly, if the objective is different, you will open the cavity upon your observation. So you can change the procedure. So the incisions, there are primary incision, which are for opening the, अभी लेक्चर तो काफ़ी अभी था